Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
The last 48 hours have seen a ton of activity on the internet. A lot of news stories about attorneys general across America going after makers of illegal robocalls. And the feds years ago created the do not call list and said, hey everybody, this do not call list is going to stop these junk phone calls. Did nothing. In fact, probably made the matters worse. So, of course, all these junk phone calls that we get all day long on our cell phones and on our desk phones, they're illegal, but no one's stopping them. And the phone companies could stop them, but they make too much money off of them. And so the state attorneys general have figured out that this is actually a popular thing. If you go after and shut down some of these operators and make an example of them, you become a hero. So I got versions of the story from a variety of different states, but several people sent me the version from Michigan because Michigan's attorney general is suing and is part of these lawsuits against a telecom company over illegal robocalls. Now, I've talked about robocalls before, and it's a popular topic, but I'm going to tell you right now, the numbers in this story will blow your mind. So Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel is suing a guy who runs a company, and the company itself, and its vice president for allegedly initiating and facilitating billions of illegal robocalls to millions of people and violating the Telephone Consumer Protection Act, the telemarketing sales rule, and other telemarketing and consumer laws. The company sent or transmitted more than 7.5 billion calls to telephone numbers on the do not call list. So the numbers are on the do not call list, and they called them 7.5 billion times. And I don't know if I can stress that enough, because that's kind of like calling every single person in the country just over and over and over. It adds up. And that's between December of 2018 and January of 2023. And in case you're curious, 195 million of those phone calls were simply within the state of Michigan. So 195 million phone calls, and there are not 195 million people in Michigan. So that means that a whole bunch of these phone calls went to my desk phone, a whole bunch went to my cell phone, a whole bunch went to everybody's phone in Michigan's ringing off the hook. But hey, guess what? It's happening across America. In 2021, Michigan residents received more than 1.2 billion robocalls, about 500 million of which were scam robocalls. This lawsuit will hold accountable businesses and business owners who knowingly route illegal robocalls through their networks, as well as provide consumers with some relief from these intrusive calls. Now, the 1.2 billion robocalls, you might say, but Steve, that's so much larger than the other number. Well, no, that's all robocalls in Michigan. The first number was just responsible, and you could point at this one company. But there's other companies doing it. That's the problem. So the company is a voice over internet protocol service that provides the service and sells data, phone numbers, dialing software, and or expertise to help its customers make mass robocalls. It also serves as an intermediate provider and allegedly facilitated or helped route illegal robocalls across the country. Between December 2018 and January 2023, this company sent or attempted to transmit more than 24.5 billion calls. Billions. We need Carl Sagan in here to explain what this means. More than 90% of those calls lasted less than 15 seconds, which indicates they were likely robocalls, meaning that it would call somebody and they'd either hang up on it or it would just ring and ring and ring. And, so the company helped make hundreds of millions of calls that used spoofed or invalid caller ID numbers, including more than 8.4 million calls that appear to be coming from government and law enforcement agencies as well as private companies. I got one yesterday that said it was from Chrysler. Now, I do lemon law. I deal with Chrysler all day long. And I looked at the caller ID, but the way it was formatted, I recognized as a robocall. But they were using one of Chrysler's phone numbers. At least that's what they were using on the caller ID. They were using a different number, but they masked it to look like Chrysler. I've also gotten them from the hospital while my mother was in the hospital. I've also gotten them from the city of Royal Oak, which is a city I used to have an office in. And of course, these are not actually from those entities. But I look at the caller ID and it goes Beaumont Hospital. Beaumont Hospital. And my mother is in the hospital at the time I got that phone call. So I pick it up and it's like, hi, we want to talk to you about your free knee brace. Your warranty on your car's almost expired. So this company allegedly sent or transmitted scam calls, perpetuating Social Security Administration scams, Medicare scams, auto warranty scams, Amazon scams, direct TV scams, credit card interest rate reduction scams, and employment scams. And that's the one thing I don't understand is why Visa and direct TV and Amazon and these other companies where somebody's calling people billions of times and posing as them. Why aren't they up in arms about it? Because you and I can go to Washington or Lansing or wherever you go to complain and say, we need something done. And they turn a blind ear to us because, well, you're just one vote. But if Amazon or DirecTV or one of these other companies that's being spoofed, if they were to go to Washington or Lansing or wherever they go to complain, they can get things done. You'd think. Do they not care, or do they have more important things to do? So the U.S. telecom-led industry traceback group, which notifies providers about known and suspected illegal robocalls, sent at least 329 notifications to this company that it was transmitting these calls. But the company continued to do so. So the state's attorney general has already sued one of the customers in Texas federal court. This company helped that customer send more than 4 billion robocalls between May 2019 and March 2021. Today's legal action arises from the nationwide anti-robocall multi-state litigation task force of 51 bipartisan attorneys general. The task force is investigating and taking legal action against those responsible for routing significant volumes of illegal robocall traffic into and across the U.S. Federal Trade Commission and the Social Security Administration's Office of the Inspector General provided assistance in this matter with the investigation. And then they have a whole list of the states here that are involved, and it's pretty much a who's who of the United States. So that's good. And so what it's going to take is two things. One is you got to sue these companies out of existence. And then two, you've got to actually pass laws that can get the phone companies on board with stopping this. And every time I do these stories, and I've got to say this, I mentioned that the phone companies could make this stop if they wanted to, but they make money off the phone calls. And in response to that comment, I will get divided equally. People saying, Steve, the phone companies are powerless to stop this. And I'll also get comments from people who say, Steve, the phone companies could stop this tomorrow if they wanted to. They don't want to because they make money off of it. That's why whenever they propose new rules, the phone companies say, well, we could do that, but it's going to take some time. Because they want to just tweak some more money out of it. That's all. And so the people who say it is absolutely impossible to stop are suggesting that there's entities out there that can hook into the pipeline known as our phone system with a device that can dial phone numbers and dial billions of them, and they have no way of stopping that. You know what's weird? If you don't pay your phone bill, they can stop you somehow. You're just one person making one call at a time. But somebody who's making billions and billions and billions of illegal robocalls, there's no way to stop that. No, it can't be done. It's unfortunate. Well, they have to pay for the phone calls, don't they? Which means they have an account with somebody. And so when they pay for the billions of phone calls, isn't that a tip-off to somebody? I think it's Steve, these are VoIP phone calls. It's not quite the exact same thing. Oh, it's not. So they have no idea these billions of phone calls are being made. I understand they're not sitting in a phone booth dropping dimes in on each phone call and then dialing a number. I understand that. My point is that they know it's happening. They know who's doing it, and they don't want to stop it because they make money on it. And they don't care that it's billions of scam phone calls. And so it's one of those sad things where someone's making money at the cost of everyone else, and they don't care. So they got to put some teeth into those laws and enforce those laws. The FCC keeps saying they're going to do it, and they keep kind of dragging their feet and giving them more time. But perhaps this will help because they're going after some of the providers here, but also some of the people who are enabling this stuff. So I got this story directly from the press release from the Michigan State Attorney General's office. And there's a good chance that your AG is doing the same thing if you're in the U.S. in one of our 50 states. So AG Nestle sues telecom company over illegal robocalls. That's press release that came out, I believe, yesterday. So questions or comments, put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. Everything should be made as simple as possible, but no simpler.